Cool thing, man. My brother is a F-16, a retired Air Force F-16 fighter jet pilot, right? His name's Garrett. And I do a dumb joke on my show where I said, Garrett, and I call him Garrett Top. Gets a big laugh. But I grew up, my brother going to the Air Force Academy, being Carrot Top, we were playing somewhere, and they said you should get a ride in a jet. I mean, they do dignitaries and they do celebrities sometimes, and this general reached out. We were in Virginia at a theater, and my brother called and said, this general reached out, and I think he got you a ride in an F-16. Now, this is not something that happens literally to anybody. Very, very, like I said, dignitaries, big celebrities, not Carrot Top. So because of my brother's pull with the general set it all up, and I got to fly in an F-16. So the best part about it was the next morning before the flight, I had to go the day before, and go through a training session. And they put this jacket that's a what do you call it, G-force jacket. I mean, it's unreal. These guys are just unbelievable what they do. They're beyond athletic, and even being in shape, you had to wear this G suit. And when the G's would pull, they would just go. It just pulls you like it's unbelievable. You can't even describe it. So they're all like, "You're in great shape. The G's not gonna." The only thing about the G suit and all that is, getting sick. So you don't want to get sick. That's the thing. No one wants you throwing you up in an F-16. But that's kind of the joke, because everybody wants to get someone sick. It's like, I made Susan Sarandon throw up in the. So you don't want anyone throwing up in a jet, especially if there's all the cockpit full of equipment and stuff. So they do the training, and the next day they get me up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and they said, we're on the way to the Air Force base, and my brother says, do you want to eat something or do you not want to eat something? And I said, well, I don't know. And what do most people do? And he says, most people don't eat. And I said, I would like to eat something, I think that would be better. And he's like, if you get sick, dude. I'm like, actually, I think I want a hamburger. And my brother literally was like, a hamburger? I'm like, just a plain hamburger. Nothing else, not like just not fancy. So we pulled into a Waffle House. I'm sure people watching this are familiar with Waffle Houses. So right when you walk in, they're like, good morning, right? And I walk in, cling, cling, the door opens, and my brother's dressed as as F-16 full-on colonel, lieutenant colonel, and I'm in exactly except without the colonel thing. I'm just dressed in an Air Force like jumpsuit, flight suit. So we're both pilots, but my hair is literally out to here. So we walk in, they're all like, morning. And then everybody's like, you just hear the bell like ding, ding. And they're like, what is this a joke? What's happened to the Air Force? What the hell's Carrot Top doing dressed like an F-16 pilot? So I had a burger, and I was like, dude, that was a bad mistake. And I'm like, I don't know. I think I feel better. I have something in my stomach. So they took me up, did the whole thing. I mean, I think we got the pin. You get a pin if you do like 14 G's. And if you ever pull G's, it's another feeling. You can't describe it. It's like, well, it's kind of like in an airplane when if you go this way, like there's a positive G and a negative G. Like an elevator drops, you're like, oh, that's a negative G. You get that, oh. And then a positive G is like force. So when he pulls this back, you're like, oh, and that's when the jacket will tighten up. See, right when he says, he'll tell you like 3, 2, 1, go. And you push all your air out, so the G-force jacket will work, and you don't fight against it, so it keeps you from fainting and passing out, not necessarily throwing up. So I'm like, oh, I'm in my eyes flicking, and my other eyes starting to. I mean, I'm literally, and I have a mask on, so I'm talking to the pilot. I'm behind him, and he's like, Robert, you doing good back there? And I'm like, oh man, I'm doing good, but how many G's are we at? And he said, that was 9. I said, 9? Gee. He said, you want to get the pin, yeah? And I said, yeah, how many G's we got to pull? He said, 14. I said, 14? Dude, I don't think I can do 14. He said, well, let's get you up to 11. We did another thing. He said, all right, that was 11. I said, oh man, I really want that pin, but is it okay? Is my eyes rolling back in my head? He said, yeah, just breathe. Let the suit do all the work. Don't try to fight it. Just let it and blow your air out. So he said, here we go. 3, 2, 1. And he's counting 9, 10. And I'm like, you're losing me. You're losing me. Like, dude, I'm passing out. We get to 14, it levels off. And he says, God, dude, great job, man. No one's done the 14 ever. No one's gotten a pin ever. You don't pull 14 Gs. So we mellowed out and we requested, I think this is the best part of the story, we requested we flew over our theater. We could see my guys setting up the show, literally the semi-truck and all the guys pushing all the gear in. I said, oh my God, there's our showroom. So the pilot's like, F-16 requesting flyby over the city, approximately 1,400 feet. And they're like, denied, return to your usual pattern of landing. And he's like, fuck. So what does that mean? He's like, one more time, just flyby of the city requesting a VIP. Guy's like, again, negative, return back. And he's like, all right, I got one more shot at this. He's like, VIP, 5 seconds, burn, 1,400 feet back to landing. And they're like, and he's dead silent. And he's like, all right, confirmed on the burn over thing. So I'm like, he's like, dude, the guy was more excited than I was. He doesn't even get to do this. So he says, all right, we got it, hold on. And we go right over the city and he hits the afterburners and we go like in a movie right over the theater. My guys were like, what the? It was me up there. We land, unbelievable, no throw up, unbelievable. I go back to the show that night. All the Air Force people are there. They applaud me. They give me the pin. And the next morning, the newspaper was, and the news was up in arms over the whole flyby because it was me. I mean, they were so mad. And my brother's like, oh, that general's getting so much, everyone's getting so much grief. And I said, well, why? I said, because if it was Dick Cheney, because that's who, if it was like a Dick Cheney or somebody like that, or a Barack Obama would have been fine. It would have been some kind of executive. But the fact that it was Carrot Top, the comedian, they thought it was pretty careless on their part. So I mean, everything settled out, but I had to call all the radio stations and say, look, I'm sorry, it was just me. We didn't mean any harm by it. But it was cool. That was the coolest thing I think I've ever done, ever.